Welcome to another welcome to another episode, everyone. Excuse me. Rising Atlanta rapper Dolla joins the wrong LA gang and finds himself dead. Dolla was originally from Chicago, but it went to Atlanta and began a rap career there and was rising. He was coming up. And he hit Los Angeles and joined the Mansville Crips. Then one day, one fateful day there, I believe in Atlanta, they had a party at a club or something. And Dolla and his crew got into it with another individual, reportedly over a woman. A lot of these fights and wars, even gang wars, have started over women. They reportedly beat this individual down, the individual that they got into it with, over this female. This individual then began to do his homework and find out who Dolla was, that he was a rapper and he was from LA now and a gang member from LA. So this individual decided that he was going to hunt Dolla down, and he caught a plane to Los Angeles and happened to run into Dolla at a restaurant, Dolla and his crew at a restaurant there in LA. And well, things went to hell from there.
Dolla was getting ready to leave Los Angeles. He had just finished eating at P.F. Chang's with his team, and they were heading to the airport. But right before they could leave, he saw someone he recognized, Aubrey Berry, the same guy Dolla and his crew allegedly jumped just 11 days earlier at an Atlanta nightclub on May 7, 2009, where Berry was beaten and kicked by a group of men, including Dolla. They didn't speak at the table. They didn't have to. When both groups stepped out into the valet area, it only took seconds for everything to go sideways. Berry pulled out a handgun and fired 8 shots. Dolla was hit 4 times. One of those bullets went straight through his heart.
Me and my friends were sitting down having lunch at P.F. Chang's, and we were sitting down and heard these gunfires, and then everyone dove down and literally army crawling.
Berry was arrested later that same day at Lax while trying to fly back to Atlanta. Dolla never made it home.
The victim was taken to a local hospital, and that's where he died a few hours ago. Now, just a short time ago, police did arrest gunmen at LAX.
At the time, Dolla was 21. He had a single on the charts. He was signed to Akon, and he'd modeled for Diddy. But what most fans didn't know was that he'd also been living with a known LA gang member, a Mansfield gangsta crip, since he was 15. And he wasn't just affiliated.
That's my hood, Mansfield gangster.
What is that? 3/4.
Actually, some gang banging.
He said it on camera, got the tattoos, made it part of his image. But LA politics don't care who co-signed you. And that day at P.F. Chang's, someone made sure Dolla paid for everything he'd claimed. Dolla wasn't from LA. He was born in Chicago, November 25th, 1987, as a twin. His brother didn't survive. Then, at just 5 years old, he watched his dad take his own life in front of him and his sister.
My father died when I was 5 years old. My father died right in front of me, actually. You know what I'm saying? I'm a middle child. I got an older sister and a younger sister. I was born a twin. Twin died at birth.
After that, his mom moved them around trying to find something stable. They ended up in Decatur, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. By 10, Dolla was already hustling. He said he jumped in the streets early to help his family make...
Dang, man, that gotta be something hard to live with alone, though. That you, obviously seeing your father take his own life at 5 years old. Obviously, you still remember this, 5 years old. I would say that you would remember that for the rest of your life. That's an old enough age for you to remember such a traumatic event. But then your twin brother dying at birth. So you are a twin, you have a twin, but your brother didn't make it at birth. I would think that would hurt you, haunt you all of your life, and the mother. You know, you're supposed to be twins and it's just you. Your brother didn't make it. Yeah. But so there we have it. He's from Chicago. He's a rapper from Atlanta, signed to Akon, modeling for P. Diddy. He's making money. He's rising up. And he goes out here, as we can see, to Los Angeles and connects himself with the Mansfield Crips. And as we can see, he stumped this dude out. Allegedly, reportedly, Dolla was included at this nightclub in Atlanta, where he's a rapper from, a rising rapper. stumped this individual out, beat him up, beat him down, stumped him out.
Ends meet. At home, it was mostly women. His mom, his two sisters, his uncle Nicholas, who was really into rock music. That's where Dolla got a different kind of taste, one that went beyond Atlanta trap.
My uncle Nicholas was really into rock. Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana. I love Nirvana, that's like my favorite rock band.
At 13, he was rapping. He linked up with his cousins Scrap and SAS and formed a group called the Rascals Crew. They were performing in every high school and talent show they could find in Atlanta.
I was first in a group called the Rascals, and we was a group. We did a lot of shows in Atlanta, everywhere we possibly could. We did high schools, we did showcases, we did talent shows.
Eventually, they got signed to Elektra Records. The group released one single, So Fly, but nothing came of it. The label dropped them, and the Rascals split up. But Dolla didn't stop. He got connected with Sean John and ended up modeling for Diddy. At one point, his face was on a billboard in Times Square. He also started ghostwriting and networking. That's how he reconnected with Akon, who had just launched Convict Music. Akon signed him under a joint deal with Jive Records. At the same time, things at home were still rough. His sister got arrested. That left Dolla and his mom to raise her kids. That's when he started going back and forth between Atlanta and Los Angeles. While in LA, he moved in with T-Money, a known OG from the Mansfield Gangsta Crips, and that changed everything. T-Money wasn't just a mentor, he was the one who brought Dolla around the set. Over time, Dolla started repping Mansfield publicly. He shouted them out in interviews and got the name tattooed on his hand.
What is that? 3 for?
Actually, some gang banging. That's just cool. It's some like real gang banging. That's my hood right there on my fingers.
This wasn't a marketing gimmick. He wasn't pretending to be from LA. He was living with gang members, hanging out with them every day and calling that set his own. The music was working, the street image was working, but what Dolla didn't realize was, once you tie yourself to that,
Sort of reminiscent of Tupac almost in a sense that, Tupac is not from LA originally and came down. A lot of these individuals from out of state do this. Chris Brown is claiming a hood, claiming to be a blood, and like these individuals come from out of state and are infatuated with the culture, the gang culture, if you will. They come to Los Angeles, California, and they end up being put on a hood, getting put on a hood. Tupac was sort of claiming Mob Piru, if you will. He was not a Mob Piru. This individual here, he's living with an OG from Mansfield Crip. I mean, he probably was still young enough, I guess. They say he died at 21 years old, so I guess he was still young enough to actually get put on the hood whenever he actually got put on and got the tattoos and was claiming it. But he's not originally from there.
Life in LA, you don't get to walk away clean, and someone he crossed was about to prove that. Once Dolla moved to LA, things started moving faster. He had already built relationships with people in the industry, but now he was being mentored by T-Money, someone who wasn't just in the music world. T-Money was also a known member of the Mansfield Gangsta Crips. He was rumored to be connected to serious figures in West LA. Some even claimed he was involved in the shooting of Suge Knight hit after the Tupac situation, though that was never confirmed. What is confirmed is this: T-Money introduced Dolla to the Mansfield set, and Dolla didn't just hang around. He started claiming them. He had the name tattooed on his hand, and it wasn't just for show. People around him confirmed he was active. Even after going back to Atlanta, he kept repping the Mansfield Crips. At the same time, his music career was picking up. He dropped a single called Who the F Is That, featuring T-Pain and Tay Dism. That record became his breakout. It peaked at number 82 on the Billboard Hot 100 and got him real traction. The video made it onto BET's 106 N Park, which was the biggest platform for hip-hop at the time. He followed it up with another record called Make a Toast. The label originally tried to get Lil Wayne on it. Wayne recorded a verse, but the labels couldn't clear it, so he was taken off the final version. Still, Dolla believed in the song enough to fund the music video himself.
Yeah, alright, you live on set. Video shoot, Make a Toast, my man Dolla. Yeah, 2009. Tell the people, tell your biggest fans, tell everybody out in the world what you got going on. Your album's coming out, Dolla in a Dream, coming soon.
It ain't nothing. We out here doing this video for Make a Toast in La La Land.
It's gonna be a banana single. It's gonna invade the radio, invade the clubs.
He was investing in himself. No major budget, no big marketing push. Just Dolla and his people pulling everything together. At that point, he also had 2 mixtapes circulating: Another Day, Another Dolla, and The Art of Seduction. Both were doing well online and in clubs. His buzz was real. And while his rap image was growing, so was the street image that followed him. He wasn't quiet about his gang ties. He mentioned Mansfield on tracks, interviews, even shouted it out during performances. And that caught attention, not just from fans or critics, but from other people in the streets. Then came a fight that would change everything. On May 7th, 2009, Dolla and his crew were at a club in Atlanta. A man named Aubrey Berry, who worked in event promotion, accidentally bumped into one of the women Dolla was with. Some say it was just a spilled drink, but either way, it turned into a fight. Berry got jumped. Dolla's people allegedly stomped him out inside the club. After that fight, Berry went online. He looked up Dolla.
And that's the problem. We're too quick to harm one another over something trivial and minute. Particularly in a club type setting, individuals are off of alcohol, drunk, intoxicated, been smoking, whatever, that Snoop Dogg. You're there with your crew, so you're really feeling invincible. You're feeling like the big dog. You're the celebrity in the crew. You got the money in the crew. You're the shot caller in the crew. You got your goons with you. You feeling like God. Someone bumps into your girl, someone else's girl. It's just an accident, I'm sure. Man wasn't trying to bump into her. Spilled drink. Okay, she'll be okay. She can go get another freaking weave. Chase. He gets stomped out because he spilled some drink by accident. Would you have stumped out little freckle-faced Jimmy if he spilled the drink on her? I don't know. But okay, so they stump him out because he accidentally spilled drink on a female that was with Dolla and his crew. What happened from there?
Started reading about him, watching videos. He found clips of Dolla throwing up gang signs and admitting to fights in interviews. He saw this wasn't just a rapper. This was someone tied to a Crip set in LA. And that made Berry nervous.
I was with Cuzzo, and that's it, you know what I'm saying? And that's it. And I seen Cuz was talking that dumb I hit him, knocked him out. He went to the hospital after that. That's pretty much it. What you gotta say, cuz?
The situation in Atlanta was over, but Berry wasn't done with it. He flew to Los Angeles days later. He said it was for business, planning an after party for the BT Awards.
It's for
but
business.
The timing made it clear something was still on his mind. When he walked into PF Chang's and saw Dolla at a table with his crew, the whole situation reignited. There was no yelling, no argument inside. But as both groups walked out, Berry waited, and then he pulled the trigger. 8 shots were fired, Dolla was hit 4 times. And just like that, the street rep that had followed him through music became the reason he didn't make it out of LA. May 18th, 2009. Dolla and his crew walked into PF Chang's at the Beverly Center around 2:30 in the afternoon. They were planning to then head straight to the airport to fly back to Atlanta. They didn't know that Aubrey Berry was already inside the restaurant. There was no shouting, no threats. According to reports, Dolla saw Berry as he walked toward the restroom. Berry recognized him too, but said nothing. Berry later told investigators that when he returned to his table, he got nervous. He told his business associate what was going on, and the associate suggested they leave. Berry followed that advice, but didn't go far. He stepped outside to the valet area, stood near his rental SUV, waited. A few minutes later, Dolla and his entourage left the restaurant. Berry claimed that Dolla walked toward him, that he said something like, "You in my hood now," that he reached for his waistband. That's when Berry pulled a Taurus 9mm and opened fire. 8 shots in total. Dolla was hit 4 times, once in the arm, twice in the back. One of the bullets pierced his heart. He tried to run, but collapsed after about 200 feet. Blood pooled on the concrete as his crew shouted for help.
Me and my friends were sitting down having lunch at PF Chang's, and we were sitting down and heard these gun.
Dang. Whoa. Oh. So that's his story. We'll see. Looks like he's in court. So apparently they did not necessarily believe his story, because his story is that it's self-defense. It would really make sense in the sense that he got jumped out there in Atlanta, stumped out. Now he's in LA. He's in this man's neighborhood. So if he can prove that this man stumped him out just days prior, him and his crew, and now he's there with his crew again, whether it's a different crew or not, at this restaurant, and he left out first to leave, and he couldn't get in the car or whatever. So I don't know. They could try to say that he was waiting on him, but he said that the Dolla came out and approached him and went for his waist and said, "You in my hood now." And then that's when he opened fire. One of the bullets hitting him in the chest, of course, ended his life, unfortunately, man. Rest in peace to Dolla. So let's see. It looks like this dude done got locked up for it, though. So apparently the authorities are not necessarily believing his story that Dolla reached in his waistband and he was just protecting himself. Because if that's the case, he shouldn't be in there. They believe, or maybe witnesses said something different. No, he waited on him. He went out of the restaurant, waited on him to come out. And it's not that he couldn't get in his car and leave. He waited on him to come out. And when he came out, he opened fire on him for stumping him out and knocking him out or whatever at the nightclub, embarrassing him days earlier.
Fires, and then everyone dove down and literally army crawling.
Barry didn't stick around. He got in his car, drove around Dolla's body, and headed straight for Lax. Back at the scene, paramedics tried to save Dolla's life.
When he says Lax, he means LAX, the airport.
They rushed him to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but it was already over. At just 21 years old, Dolla was pronounced dead.
Damn.
A few hours later, LAPD located Barry inside the Lax ticketing lobby. He didn't resist. He told officers he had a weapon. They placed him under arrest on the spot. Police also recovered the gun. Back in Atlanta, word spread fast. Fans flooded forums and blogs. Rumors were everywhere. Was it gang-related? Was it over a girl? Was it random? Nobody had answers. But what people did know was that Dolla was dead, and he didn't get shot in a club or in a street corner. He got killed in broad daylight outside one of LA's busiest shopping centers, and that made headlines everywhere. Within 24 hours, the Beverly Center had turned from a luxury shopping spot into a crime scene. Fans began showing up to the location, laying candles and posters on the curb near where Dolla had fallen. News cameras caught everything. But the streets, especially back in Atlanta, were quiet. Dolla's camp wasn't doing interviews. His family wasn't speaking publicly. Behind the scenes, the LAPD was already building their case. But Barry was building his defense too, and what started as a murder charge was about to turn into something far more complicated. After Aubrey Barry was arrested at LAX, the district attorney filed a murder charge. The LAPD recovered the gun. They had witnesses from P.F. Chang's. Surveillance footage showed Barry at the scene. But from the moment the trial began, Barry's lawyers had a strategy. Self-defense. They didn't deny he shot Dolla. That part was never in question, but they argued that Barry had a reason. According to him, he had been assaulted by Dolla's crew just 11 days earlier in Atlanta. And now, here he was, face to face with the same man again. But this time, 2,000 miles away and alone. Barry's team said he was scared, that Dolla approached him, that he thought Dolla was reaching for a weapon. That's when Barry fired. And even though police didn't find a gun on Dolla's body, the defense didn't need to prove one existed. They just had to show Barry reasonably believed he was in danger. That's when Dolla's image came into focus, and it didn't help him. Barry's attorney played old clips.
Yeah, so he did not have a gun on him. Dolla did not have a gun. He said, I thought he said, "You in my hood now," and reached in his waistband. For what? Some keys? Because he didn't have a gun on him. What is he reaching for? Bluffing, trying to scare you? Or did someone in his crew have a gun? But he said that he reached for the gun. But there is no gun. And doing that sort of stuff, bluffing like you got one, can get you killed with someone who actually does have one. So, but that's his story. Is that really what happened? Did he reach for a ghost gun, a gun that did not exist? Knowing that this man might really have one and can open fire on him, which he eventually did? I don't know if this is his defense, though. Let's see.
Of Dolla talking about fights, throwing gang signs, and repping the Mansfield Gangsta Crips. One clip showed Dolla proudly flashing his hand tattoos. Another clip had him speaking directly on his gang affiliation.
What is that? 3/4.
Actually, some gang banging. That's the truth. It's some like real gang banging. That's my hood right there on my finger.
They also pulled up Dolla's own interview from the BET event where he talked about knocking out rapper Two Pistols during an argument over a beat.
I was talking that dumb I hit him, knocked him out. He went to the hospital after that.
Every piece of that persona The street talk, the tattoos, the fights, the gang name drops was now being used to paint a picture that Dolla was dangerous, aggressive, and capable of violence. To Barry's legal team, that was the context. They said this wasn't a rapper trying to make it. This was someone whose reputation was built on intimidation, someone who had already beaten Barry once, and who Barry believed was about to do it again. Dolla's family fought back. They told the court that Dolla wasn't in LA to look for a fight. He was celebrating his girlfriend's birthday. They said he was unarmed, that the shooting wasn't spontaneous, it was planned. They pushed the prosecution's claim that this was retaliation, not self-defense. But the jury didn't see it that way. The combination of the Atlanta fight, Dolla's gang image, and Barry's calm demeanor in court created doubt.
But I'm really from Atlanta. I went to school out there. I went to jail out there. I got shot out there. I done trapped out there. I lost my virginity out there. So everybody out there really know me and know that he really from these streets.
On May 22nd, 2010, a Los Angeles jury found Aubrey Barry not guilty of murder. He walked free. No prison time, no manslaughter conviction, nothing. The verdict hit hard in Atlanta. Dolla's family was devastated. His fans...
Dang, not guilty. I was thinking maybe they'd come down to a manslaughter or something, but probably what happened is they probably didn't even have that on the table. That's what they do sometimes in these prosecutions. They say murder or nothing. This is not a manslaughter. So they don't even put that on the table for the jury to consider a lesser charge. That could be what happened. Maybe they did put it on the table and they still said, no, it's not even a manslaughter. There's nothing to see here. It's self-defense. That's what they said. They said that it was self-defense. Dang, he straight got off, I thought maybe, him leaving the crime scene, even though he can justify that too, getting to the airport. I'm thinking if it's self-defense, maybe stay there, but who's going to stay there really in that situation? You in another state, you in his hood, his neighborhood, but they're at the Beverly Center. So they like, that's not his hood, but he's closer to his hood than you are to yours. And he's there with his crew, and you didn't just open fire on him. His crew can go to the car, get a gun, whatever, come back and shoot you. So it makes sense for him to get out of there at that point. Once he didn't shot him, he's not going to sit around wait for the ambulance. Is he okay? It's like, nah, I'm out of here. But yeah, I can see how the image that they painted there in court did not help Dolla, and how it did help this young man here who pulled the trigger. Saying that he was just stumped out 11 days before, beaten to a pulp in Atlanta, in his own city. So you can imagine what's going to happen. And now I'm in this man's city. I was in my own city and they stumped me out and beat me up. And then showing all these videos of the tattoos and the gang banging and him talking about knocking somebody out, him talking about getting shot, and I'm really from the street. And this, that, and the other, they painted a picture that he's an intimidating figure, even though he just looked like a little light-skinned, non-violent type individual. They paint a picture that he is indeed violent and it's braggadocio about being violent. He takes pride in his violence, and who knows what was going to happen to this man had he not opened fire. He's out here in LA now. They already stumped him out just days ago. Who's to say they're not at least going to stump him out again, or worse? I don't know. Whatever. The jury certainly apparently saw it that way. They saw something in there that said self-defense, straight, not guilty.
Were confused. For most of them, this wasn't about one man shooting another. It was about a rising artist who died before he ever got a chance to fully blow up. But for the court, it came down to perception. Barry wasn't on trial for killing a Billboard model. He was on trial for killing a man who had branded himself as a gang-affiliated rapper. Someone who once said on camera that he was really out here. And in the end, that image, one Dolla had built to survive the music industry, is what the jury believed justified Barry's fear. After the verdict, everything went quiet. There was no media tour, no follow-up statement from Barry, no press conference from the LAPD. Just silence. Meanwhile, back in Atlanta, Dolla's family had already buried him. The funeral was held at the Word of Faith Love Center, where hundreds of people showed up to pay respects. Friends, fans, even strangers. Dolla's mother, Donna, stayed mostly out of the spotlight, but in private, she was still fighting. For her, this wasn't just about her son being killed. It was about how he was remembered. She watched as blogs and YouTube channels focused more on Dolla's tattoos than his lyrics. They mentioned the P.F. Chang's shooting, but barely touched on his music. And after Barry's acquittal, it felt like the industry had already moved on. Dolla's debut album, A Dolla and a Dream, was never released. Akon had signed him to Convict Music through Jive, but after the shooting, the label went quiet. No posthumous rollout, no deluxe edition, no tribute feature. The songs were recorded, but they stayed in the vault. He had been working on features with big names, not just Akon and T-Pain, but others in the Atlanta scene. He also had a third mixtape in the works, Back Like I Never Left, that never saw the light of day. And while fans created tribute pages, murals, and RIP graphics online, the music industry didn't respond the same way. There was no tribute on BET, no moment of silence at the BET Awards, no concert in his name. Just headlines fading and another artist gone too soon. Some people blamed it on how Dolla branded himself. They said his street image overshadowed everything else, that the gang signs, the interviews, the aggressive lyrics, they made it easy for the media to categorize him, not as a rising star, but as another statistic. But people who knew Dolla saw something different. He wasn't just talking tough on camera, he was taking care of his family. He was raising his sister's kids while trying to build a career. He was traveling constantly between Atlanta and LA to keep momentum going. He was trying to make something happen, and fast, because he didn't think he had time to waste. And in a way, he was right, because soon he was gone, and everything he was working toward was left unfinished. His family kept trying to push his music. They released some unreleased verses online. They tried to get the album out, but with no backing from Jive or Convict Music, it never happened. A few years later, new fans started finding Dolla's videos again, discovering his work through YouTube comments, throwback pages, or rappers who died too soon lists. But for most people, Dolla was remembered more for how he died than how he lived. He had one foot in the industry and one foot in the streets, and once the court said Barry could walk, there were no more headlines, no more updates, just a silent gap. The kind that only exists when someone was right at the edge of something bigger.
This person who made a choice to take my son away, they didn't just take my son, he ruined his life. He ruined his own life by my son.
And even now, years later.
No, not really, because he got off. He ended up being found not guilty. His life is the same. Rest in peace, Dolla. I hate to see this. Hate that happened to him. Very young, 21 years old. Clearly was on his way to something, signed with Akon, and they went silent, as we can see. No tributes for him. I guess he wasn't big enough. Hopefully they helped the family or something with his funeral and, this sort of thing. Helped the mother out. His children. It looked like perhaps he had kids there. But who knows? Well, maybe not, but let me know what you think in the comments. Barry got off, not guilty. Shot him 4 times, let off 8 shots, hit him 4 times. And I think they said twice in the back, so I don't know. But, and I thought maybe they can try to twist it to where he was lying in wait, had came out and waited on him or whatever, but they went a different route. And, he came up with this. He was reaching in his waistband and said, "You in my hood now," and they showing all of this stuff with him actually claiming the hood and saying he from a Crip gang and all of this, and this is my tattoos or just some gang stuff. And that's, he like, yeah, now I'm in his hood. I'm in LA. You see, he on here talking about knocking people out. I was scared, man. Okay, he didn't have a gun on him. I didn't know. I was scared. He didn't know. They knocked me out days before. I'm traumatized from all that. I was spooked, man. I got spooked. I got scared. I'm about to take a chance with my life. Being out here in LA, in his part of town, and I get gunned down. I don't know. The jury apparently, again, they saw it that way as well. They found him not guilty. But again, rest in peace, Dolla, man. Seems like a talented individual, someone who was on his way to some sort of stardom, to a good career. And sometimes, if you are not Hell, even if you are from a gang and you were born into it, it's time to leave it alone in 2026. The shit is over. But if you're not even from there for real, and you're a rapper and this and that from out of state, why would you want to come into the game? You're going backwards. Why would you want to come down and start gangbanging? No. You become a rapper, or you trying to be successful to get out of that life. Not to get into it. Hell no. Someone should have helped and guided him, and directed him in a different way. His big homies or whatever. No, man, don't hang out over here. This is nothing. Even though this really doesn't look like it was gang related, if you will. Looked like they stumped an individual out there in Atlanta, not even in LA. It had nothing to do. He's not from an enemy gang or whatever. This was over him spilling a drink over, on a female or whatever. Then they stumped him out. He's from Atlanta or wherever he's from. Barry, he's not an enemy of Mansfield Crip. So it had nothing to do with gangs. This was personal. They got into it. They stumped him out. His crew, whoever his crew was, whoever's Dollar crew was at the time. And then what happened after that? Rest in peace, man. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free. Whoa.